A very good afternoon to you, my dear students. Today we are going to dissect the alimentary canal of the sardine. So we all know what a sardine is, and it eats food, and the food goes in straight through the alimentary canal, and it comes out, the waste, it comes out through this part that is called the anus or the vent. So what we have to do is we have to cut out part of the body wall like this. You can either start here in this cavity, which is you can see this is the operculum. So one of the options is to start cutting here. So sometimes you find it very difficult to cut through the body wall. So one option is to cut through the body wall like this, from starting from this place and just come back like this, and then go straight in here like this. So here you can see this part, this is the anus. You can see this opening here. This is the anus. So another option is to start from here and like go back, trace like this and go back here and cut till here, and we remove this body wall. And after that we have to take out the contents, we have to clear, and finally we have to display the entire alimentary canal. So for that, of course, you will need sardine. I have dipped it in water. Then as usual you need a dissection board and a hammer and a plain sheet of paper on which you are supposed to write your name, register number and question number. Then in addition to that, what are the other equipments which you need? You'll need different sizes of scissors, forceps, needles. Then you can also cut uniform shaped papers like this, on which you have actually written down the different parts which you have to label. So this is known as a label flag. So I have already cut these pieces of paper, and then I have written the labels here, and I have attached it like this to the pins, so that I'll be able to attach these pins to the corresponding parts and thereby label them. So we'll start with the alimentary canal. We'll start with the actual dissection. You can see this part. This is actually the vent here. So I'm going to start cutting from the vent. Right from here I'm going to cut up here. So I have made this cut like this, so I can just sort of take out this flap. I have to be a bit careful like this. You can see there are so many so I'm just removing all that. You can also see that this entire viscera and all the organs in here, it's covered by a membrane. So that's quite challenging, because when you try to remove the membrane, you may find that you actually break off something. So we have to start cleaning very carefully. So you can see, starting from here till here, this is the entire region we have to clean, and it is from this region that we have to actually isolate the alimentary canal and pin it up. So I'm going to pin up the fish here. Using needles. those of you who are squeamish about touching this, you can always use a gloves. Actually now it's quite a fad to use gloves. Unfortunately, people like us, we have been so used to it, we don't actually use it in our day-to-day life. So now here you can see there is this membrane. So what we have to do is, I just start very carefully, I start removing. This membrane actually keeps all the organs together, so it's very important from the fish viewpoint, but from our viewpoint it's very imperative that we very carefully remove that, so that we are able to find out all the different parts. Then the next step here is that once we have delineated the different parts of the alimentary canal, we have to see, I am just removing this. These are the eggs. You can see how they are all held together. All I need is to break the membrane and it comes out with meat. I'm just going to cut through the mouth like this. And what I have done is I have just separated the lower jaw and the upper jaw, and I'm going to pin it. And very carefully I'm going to remove the debris here. So now I am removing the second ovary here. I've broken the membranes which are binding them, and very carefully I'm removing that here. So now we can actually see how it's moving. You can see the intestine. It's almost attached to the body wall here. So now it's our job to slowly lift it out. You can see the cecum. You can see here, you can see the cecum. This is the cecum. Then here we have got this entire stuff coiled together, highly coiled together in a loop. So this is the loop which we have to actually unravel, so that we can actually spread it out like this. Then here you can see how there is this membrane here. So the intestine goes all the way down and it reaches here at the vent. You can see here it reaches down here exactly at the vent. So we have to take this out. Okay. So very carefully with my needle I start removing the membrane like this, and I can finally lift this completely. You can see the entire intestine, and here you can see the coil here which we have to slowly unravel. So that is the next step here. So when you just start separating each of these coils, you will see that this membrane is bounding. So the trick is to remove the membrane very slowly without breaking the intestine. You can see here you can see the cecum. You can see how you can see the cecum, and then you can see how it's looping back. So I'm just removing this thing with the needle. You can see how with each membrane, with each tie which we are breaking, how actually a new coil is unraveling. You can see how each coil is unraveling. It's a bit tedious, but if you're careful, you'll be able to do this. So you're not supposed to take this like this, but I'm actually showing you so that you can understand how coiled you are. You can see coil the intestines. You can see the different coils here. You can see how, and each of this you have to delineate by breaking the membrane open. Okay, so I'm just showing you so that you will be able to do that when you do the practical by yourself. The stomach, you can see the cardiac and the pyloric stomach, and you can even see the junction by from which it is emerging, and we have almost delineated all the coils except for this last one. You can see here, this is the last knot which we have to untie, or rather we have to break. Once this is done, we will have our intestine out. Unraveled all these intestines. It doesn't look it's not very easy because it's just very tedious. So I have just arranged it like this. So if you have a bigger fish, it's better to pin it a little more this side behind so that you get enough space to arrange the intestine. You see the esophagus here, then you have got the stomach, then you have got the cecum here. Then in this region you can actually see the pyloric caecae. You can see the small finger-like projections here. Then this is the intestine, which was super coiled and which we uncoiled, and it ends here like this, here in the anus. So once this much has been done, the next part is to actually flag this entire region. So for flagging, what I have done is I have rolled up a paper like this just to highlight the root of from where the mouth starts, and it's ending right here. Okay, this is something which I have done. To flag each of the parts, the relevant parts. This is the esophagus, so I have pinned it like this as the esophagus. Then the stomach is here. Actually there are different parts. I have not actually identified each and every part. There is no need to actually pierce these parts because sometimes they'll rupture and it will become quite messy. So it's enough to just mark those parts clearly. Then you got the cecum here. Then the intestine. The rectal region. And the liver. So this is all about the alimentary canal of sardine. So there may be some differences. Every fish is unique, so when you uncoil, you may find that even though the general plan is the same, there may still be some differences. Also the size and appearance of the liver, they may change from fish to fish, so you have to be a bit careful about that. So that is all about the alimentary canal of sardine. Thank you.